You know, the client that I just talked to before I got out here, I called him on the phone and I said, your redwood trees look perfect. They don't need anything. And his comment to me was, but look at all the mess on the ground. I said, well, that's what trees do. He says, well, I want the tree not to make so much of a mess. I said, well, you shouldn't have planted big redwoods. He said, well, I bought the house this way. He says, can you take out half the branches so that the tree won't be as messy? And I said, well, that's a stupid move because that's not going to help the tree out. And he says, yeah, but you know, how about if you take up all the bottom branches and just make it a tall... He would not listen to me. The only thing that he was concerned about was the mess. And he said, and my neighbors complain about the mess. And I said, okay, well then there's the valley oak in the front yard. And he says, oh, and that tree is such a mess. You know, I think I need to respectfully decline working for people that are either so ignorant or so blind to why I'm in business in the first place. I'm here to take care of trees. I'm not here to reduce the mess. I'm here to take care of trees for people that appreciate their trees. The longer I do this type of work, the more I realize that the world's full of people that just don't care. So here's the story. The client has a row of podocarpus. These are actually Podocarpus macrophylla. They're trees, but they're often used as hedgerows. Clearly the neighbor keeps cutting back their side because they don't want any leaves falling in their backyard. So the client calls tree services and they went out to bid and they took the best bid. They took the cheapest bid, the least expensive bid. And this is what they ended up with. So the tree service came along and just wailed on everything, and you can see right off the bat some of the cuts here. It looks like they went at it with a hedge trimmer and just beat the crap out of it, or a chainsaw, more likely a chainsaw, and just made all their cuts just haphazardly all the way through. And look at that ratty cut up there. Everything is just cut off, everything's stubbed, everything's broken. And then look at this. At the very end here, you can see where they went at it with a chainsaw. And they nicked and they trashed and everything about this is just horrible, just horrible. There's absolutely no respect for the plant. But this is a really important little hedgerow right here because this is what gives the two properties privacy from each other. But maybe they're more concerned about things getting into the buildings or the mess or whatever, so they're going to continue to trim it. But at some point you have to stop and say, you know, what's right and what's wrong? Well, this is clearly wrong, and this is clearly going to lead to long-term problems. You know, you can tell that there's going to be little rotten spots and decay that's setting up in here. I mean, there's no excuse for this. I mean, this is just reckless abandonment. So somebody that knows how to start a chainsaw but doesn't know how to use it, got up on his ladder and just wailed and just cut and cut and cut and cut and cut. They were in and out and nothing flat. It was the cheapest bid. These people bought it. And now the really interesting thing about this is these plants will probably survive. And in a couple of years, there's going to be suckers all over the place, and the suckers will come out and these plants will continue to survive and fill in, and somewhere along the line they'll probably do it again. But you have to remember that all these injuries on trees are accumulative. Every time you screw it up, every time you make another bad cut, every bad tear, it's going to accumulate a mass of decay problems, a mass of areas where the tree is not evolving but dissolving. So it may take years for these trees to dissolve and go back into the ground, but all the stupidity of tree guys that really don't belong in this business, or gardeners that think they're tree guys, really doesn't do our business any service. You know, the homeowner that paid for this, clearly they had to sue these people. You know, the people that do this kind of work. I mean, you imagine if you went to a doctor and they whacked on your body the way they're whacking on this tree, or you went to a dentist and, you know, instead of filling a cavity, they said, "Oh, let's just get rid of those teeth." You'd be so upset. But for some reason, plants, you know, trees, they seem to suffer from all the maladies of ignorance. Ignorance and people that don't want the trees getting too close to their house. And there's a right way that you can do that. You can make nice clean cuts. You can leave a nice fullness all the way through. And if you consistently take care of your trees correctly, this could have evolved into something really nice. You know, they've even added another one over here because they want this to fill in. Interesting, they chose, this is the macrophylla, and this is the graciliar. They're both podocarpus, but they have a different growth characteristic. So they went and chose podocarpus, but they didn't make the real accurate selection. So if you look along here, you can see that, you know, on the neighboring property, they've done a really good job of separating all foliage, because they don't want any leaves falling in their backyard. Because gosh, we know trees are just so messy. This is what I'm dealing with. And then I went over to the other side of the yard. Somebody has decided that these trees need to be topped. I don't get it. And these are all fresh cuts. I was here a week ago and she asked me to come back out and look at this. And, this just really bothers me.